It was a soggy day across the Commonwealth as a cold front moved through the region. Will this rain stick around? I'll have your detailed forecast coming up.
Donald Trump makes his appearance in Kentucky today. WKU reporter Carrie Blanton was in Louisville at the rally.
Coming up on News Channel 12 live at 6, a shooting at an apartment complex nearby campus. We'll give you the details live at 6.
This is News Channel 12 live at 6, where commitment makes the difference.
Good evening and welcome to News Channel 12 live at 6. It's Tuesday, March 1st. I'm Corey McCauley.
And I'm Devin Hall. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our own Carrie Blanton is in Louisville and heard Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump speak.
Are you ready to make Kentucky Trump country on Saturday? Are you ready to get your neighbors and friends out to vote for Donald Trump on Saturday? America needs...
We are here inside the Kentucky International Conference Center, where the Trump rally has just ended. Between the protesters and the supporters and everyone in between, we caught up with a few of those people to find out their thoughts on the event. We also heard a lot from Donald Trump, including a lot about his main points of his campaign.
You know, there's something happening. This is not like a normal situation. This is big stuff, and there is something happening. The cover of Time magazine 3 weeks ago, they said it was a movement. This is really a movement, folks. This is a movement.
A Democratic candidate is predicted to win a vote of a certain ethnic group. According to CNN, Clinton hopes to sweep the southern states due to the African American vote. Clinton spoke about how she would make America great again.
I don't think America has ever stopped being great. What we need to do now is make America whole.
And Hillary Clinton are going head-to-head in 11 states for approximately 800 delegates to win the Democratic race.
Polls closed in Georgia, Vermont, and Virginia at 6 p.m. We'll have the latest results. If you head to newschannel12live.com, you'll see those results. Stay tuned, and we'll have those later on our website. Politicians are no strangers to backlash, especially on the campaign trail. Locally, Governor Matt Bevin has recently seen backlash for his proposed state budget. I sat down with Eric Bainselbo to learn more on how students are impacted by the budget.
Why are they not more in an uproar about the dramatic increase in tuition, say, over the last 25 years?
Kentucky universities are no strangers to tuition increases. At Western Kentucky University, tuition has increased from $2,390 a year in 2000 to $9,140 a year in 2015.
It's dramatic. We're talking hundreds of percent increases in tuition for Kentucky students.
What's more dramatic is Kentucky's drop in funding post-secondary education from 60% in 2000 to 36% in 2015.
So it might be a 2% this year, a 5% next year, back to 4% the year after that.
With Governor Bevin's budget proposal for the next fiscal year, universities are seeing an even larger hit.
A 9% cut would be painful.
With cuts to the budget, universities are forced to increase tuition fees even more.
If we continue to have to pay more, it's going to become more of a burden on us.
The reality of students attending college could change.
I know for a lot of my friends who could barely afford to be here as is, it would definitely probably either change their mind to stay at a community college or go to another university that's going to be cheaper, or maybe even not be able to come.
It causes a chain reaction effect. Cuts in university funding could mean you see lower student enrollment, and you'll see cuts in university personnel.
The overwhelming portion of what the university spends its money on is personnel.
In 2014, WKU had 2,329 full-time employees and 1,126 part-time employees, over $190 million spent on compensation and benefits.
But what this university is are people.
In response to the drastic increase in tuition, a tuition freeze bill is floating around the Kentucky Senate, but don't hold your breath. State senators are saying it probably won't pass anytime soon due to conflict.
In February, Kentucky State University announced they could be closing because of the cuts KSU held a march last week to save Kentucky schools. Reporter Will Puckett takes us to KSU.
Education matters. Save our schools. Education matters. Save our schools. Education matters. Save our schools.
I'm here to support, well, not support, but I'm here against the cuts for higher education.
You know, a budget isn't just about numbers.
Because this affects all schools. It doesn't just affect Murray, it doesn't just affect the big schools or the little schools. It affects all of us. And I think that, you know, the more universities, the better. The more students we have, the better. The better educated citizenry have, the better.
Education matters. Save our schools.
I know I started my future here. It's a second chance school. I know it's a second chance school for me. I've actually sat out of school for like 3 years, and this is my first semester back. So since I've been back, like, it's been really well. It's been a smooth transition for me.
It's about value.
It also sends a message to other states that we're not a state that promotes education. We don't promote the fine arts. We don't promote culture. You know, a musician or an artist might not make a lot of money, but they promote the surroundings in such beautiful ways that it's kind of inhumane and uncharacteristic of a commonwealth to not promote the commonwealth of their people.
Education matters. What? Save our schools. What? Education matters. What? Save our schools. Louder.
German department, which is part of the modern languages department. Honestly, if the departments were to get cut, I would probably have to go to another state and continue my education.
I'd probably look into going into like a community college or something like that around the area, something like that.
This is your capital.
Fund my school.
Fund my school, yeah.
Education matters. Save our schools. Education matters. Save our schools.
The march brought out over 300 students from Kentucky State University, Murray State University, and even some from WKU. Mallory Schnell joins us with the first look at our forecast.
It was a pretty soggy day across the Commonwealth as showers and storms pushed their way through the region. We were seeing a cold front push through. As you can see from the regional satellite radar, we had a cold front drape from about the Great Lakes down to the Gulf of Mexico, and that will continue to push eastward into the overnight hours. And that will basically bring us cooler and drier weather behind that. As you can see, our highs today, Bowling Green, we hit 64 degrees. That was this morning. So since then, temperatures have dropped quite a bit. 55 degrees in Owensboro, 50 degrees in Bloomington. But like I said, after that cold front moved through, those temperatures really dropped. Currently, temperatures in Bowling Green, 41 degrees, 35 up in Owensboro, and 43 in Lexington. So temperatures will continue to drop as we move into the overnight hours, and that cold air continues to infiltrate in. Coming up, here are some of your weather headlines. I'll talk more about meteorological spring, which began today, March 1st, as well as the next time you can see some storm chances and the beginning of your spring break forecast.
Thank you, Mallory. Dozens of shots were fired at Campus Walk Apartments on College Street Sunday night. Bowling Green police arrested 3 of the 4 men involved, but the 4th suspect is still on the loose. We also know the shots were directed at one specific apartment, while 2 girls were inside at the time of the shooting. No one was injured, but the incident remains under investigation as the Bowling Green Police Department continues to uncover further details.
Haven't offered a ton yet. They've initially thought it was sort of a random incident, but we really don't know.
This may be the first time students are hearing of the incident. Captain Dominic Ocello with the WKU Police spoke with us and said by the time WKU learned of the shooting, Bowling Green Police had apprehended 3 of the 4 suspects. WKU didn't issue a text alert to students because police had already arrested the suspects.
Coming up on News Channel 12, live at 6. Many Western Kentucky University students are feeling under the weather. Find out if it's the common cold or something worse.
And just how clean are Bowling Green's waterways? And if you've gone fishing in the last few years, how many chemicals have you reeled in? That's next.
Ladies, if the door's locked, knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language, or talk with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table. And don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
The annual advisory released by the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife regulates what happens in our ecosystem. Our processes of hunting and fishing have rules, and it may just be for nature's sake.
When going on a fishing trip, your biggest worry should be landing the biggest catch. But if you plan on eating your prize, it may be wise to reconsider. Surveys by the Environmental Protection Agency say less than 2/3 of lake water is labeled good. The Department of Kentucky Fish and Wildlife's latest advisory on the conditions of aquatic life can be summed up by Associate Professor of Biology, Dr. Philip Linesh.
There's been a lot of concern over the last few decades about the rise of different types of toxic materials that are in the waterways and that are getting into fish populations. And if people are eating those fish, could be getting into the human population.
The chemicals get into our water in many ways. Linesh says mercury can already exist in the ecosystem as well as be introduced by man.
You do have some areas that just have natural mercury. So there's going to be some mercury in the waters just through water going through the soil. You also have mercury that's being released through burning of fossil fuels, and so that's elevating the levels of mercury.
In short, mercury's cycle into the atmosphere goes a little like this. Man-made chemicals enter the atmosphere, mixing into clouds, and then fall to the ground as rainwater. Microorganisms then absorb the chemicals in small bits at first, but as organisms consume each other, the amount of chemicals stored in fat cells increases. So basically, the bigger or older the fish, the more mercury you'll find inside of it. However, Associate Dean for Research at the Ogden College of Science and Engineering, Dr. Kathleen Webb, says there isn't much to be alarmed about.
The advisories are simply to warn people that there is enough mercury in the fish that they will kind of limit their intake of fish. And so from an ordinary human being, there would be virtually no impact. No one would see any impact.
That being said, for pregnant women and children, it is something that should be taken into deep consideration. For News Channel 12, I'm Michael Squire.
For more information, look up the Kentucky Fishing and Boating Guide on the Kentucky's Fish and Wildlife Department's website.
And coming up, we're getting the first look at the unofficial numbers in today's election. We'll have more coming up later in the show.
And later in sports, our reporter Marcus Browning is live to preview high school regional hoops.
Welcome back. Devin, a couple days ago we got the first glimpse at spring. We had beautiful warm weather. Today, kind of rainy and gross.
It's kind of funny because I wore a light sweater today and now I need a raincoat. Mallory, will you tell us about this wacky weather?
Yeah, well, you got to remember we are in Bowling Green and weather just changes on the daily, it seems like. Today we did see some rain earlier today and temperatures have decreased as we've come through the evening hours. Right now we're sitting at 41 degrees here in Bowling Green, but it feels like 33 due to that moisture kind of sticking around in the area. We hit our high this morning, 64 degrees this morning, and then temperatures just continued to drop as a cold front moved through the region. Highs today across the region, you can see a nice spread of temperatures. We had cooler temperatures up to our northwest, and as you move to the southeast, those temperatures continue to increase into the 70s as we got off the Atlantic coast. So pretty much a wide spread across the area. That's due to that cold front that's just been inching along to the east coast. 24-hour rainfall totals, Bowling Green saw a little bit under a ½ inch. So did Nashville. Up in Bloomington, they had the highest rainfall totals. We're looking at 3/4 of an inch. So enough to make your commute kind of miserable. Satellite radar continues to show that line pushing off to the east coast, and you can see that drier and cooler air kind of moving in, and that's going to continue into the overnight hours. U.S. satellite radar, this is the main system of concern, and that's just going to continue to push off the coast. We will see another system begin to form and deepen in the Midwest before we get another shot of rain and maybe a little bit of snow on Thursday. As for the 24-hour temperature change, that is due to that cold front, 31 degrees difference in the 24 hours in Kansas City. And once again, that's just due to that colder air. We zoom in to Kentucky. We're looking at temperatures a little bit 10 degrees to 18 degrees cooler across the state. Temperatures will continue to decrease as we move into the overnight hours. 30 degrees for our low tonight, and it will be breezy with winds from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. As for tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit cooler than it was today. 44 degrees, clear and cool, but very pleasant out there. And for our 5-day outlook, roller coaster weather, just like Bowling Green is. We do have another shot of rain and possibly a snow mix on Thursday, but by the weekend, we're looking at 60s for the start of spring break. Back to you all at the desk.
With flu season in full swing in the Bowling Green area, many WKU students have no choice but to fight it head on. One particular student gives us insight on a seasonal illness. Our Catherine Gardner has the story.
Hold on, I gotta blow my nose real quick.
With frequent weather changes comes flu season, and with the uncertain weather pattern in the Bowling Green area, many WKU students like Rachel Marcus had no choice but to fight through it.
I woke up and felt like I was in the third person. I didn't feel like I was in my own body. Everything was slow. I had no energy. My head was throbbing and I could not breathe out of my nose.
Nurse practitioner Lisa Grimes started noticing an outbreak of the flu about 2 weeks ago, and she doesn't see it slowing down anytime soon.
The start of flu season has actually been going on for probably the past week or two especially. It seems like it's hit Bowling Green hard. I have seen 3 to 4 cases this week. A colleague of mine here at the Glasser Clinic has seen 5 cases this week.
And with the influenza virus currently going around, Nurse Lisa says not to overlook a simple sneeze or cough.
The symptoms of the flu are, it starts off with a runny nose, just generalized body aches. Fever can be up to 101. A lot of people who come in feel like they might have something else, and it's actually the flu because it does have a fever with it.
Although there is no cure-all for the flu shot or not, there are multiple ways to keep the flu at bay. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend hand washing and refer to it as a do-it-yourself vaccination and should not be replaced by hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer is good, but it doesn't replace hand washing. Or you touch anything with your hands, please don't put it around your face because the flu is very easily airdrop transmitted.
I'd say the worst part is the lack of energy because you don't feel like you can do anything. I couldn't go to the gym. I could barely make it to class without feeling totally drained of everything I had in me. You really don't want the flu.
For News Channel 12, I'm Catherine Gardner.
For those who can relate to those sickly feelings or symptoms, health officials ask you to go see a doctor or clinic to get tested for the flu. We've got Diamond action and highlights from arguably the best team on the Hill coming your way. Tyler Poe joins us with a preview of sports.
And high school hoops gets ready for regional tournament play tonight. We've got Marcus Browning live in Diddle Arena next.
Welcome back to News Channel 12 live at 6. We're going to take you out to EA Diddle Arena where Marcus Browning is going to tell us a little bit about what's going on with Region 4 basketball tonight.
Welcome everyone to EA Diddle Arena tonight. Region 4 basketball tournament action for Warren County fans is focused on Warren Central versus Franklin Simpson. Warren Central dropped District 14 by 2 points to Bowling Green this past Saturday, but goes against Franklin Simpson, which will prove to be a tough matchup. Franklin Simpson has won 20 games against Region 4 foes. It's going to be a big one, folks. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Marcus. The Lady Topper basketball team had its senior day on Saturday as they played host to the UAB Blazers in Diddle Arena. A slow start hurt the Tops again as UAB jumped out to a double-digit lead, but a strong second quarter gave the Tops the lead at the half. Continuing that momentum into the third, the Lady Tops never gave up their lead. Kendall Noble approached triple-double territory with 11 points, 11 assists, and 7 boards to will the team to a 9-point victory.
Different people stepped up. We started off very slow, and good thing Abby was hitting threes, or we probably would have got blown out. But yeah, I think we stepped up in the second half, and good team win.
And for the second weekend in a row, the Lady Topper softball team hosted a tournament, this time welcoming in Valparaiso, Ball State, Southeast Missouri, and Western Carolina. The weekend started strong with a convincing win on Friday over Valpo. Hannah Parker battled her way through 5 2/3 of shutout softball, and the Lady Tops secured a 7-1 win. Saturday saw the Tops drop the morning game to Ball State by run rule, only to turn around in the second game with a convincing win over Western Carolina. Sunday was a struggle. The Lady Tops dropped both games and were shut out in the final game of the tournament. And while softball stayed home, baseball traveled to Athens, Georgia for the Bulldog Invitational. The Tops started the weekend with a win over the Cincinnati Bearcats 5-2. Then on Saturday, they mounted a comeback in the 9th inning to take a wild 11-10 victory over the South Alabama Jaguars. More 9th inning magic on Sunday as Thomas Peter hit a 2-run homer to give the Tops the lead for good. The baseball Tops are playing right now in Belmont and host Lipscomb University tomorrow at 3 at Nick Dennis Field. We will be right back with the latest updates on the polls.
Welcome back. We're getting in. My producers are telling me some unofficial results from today's election. We have Trump leading in Virginia and in Georgia. Rubio is currently second in Virginia. In Georgia, Rubio and Cruz are battling for the second place. Vermont has not responded with any results. Clinton is ahead in Georgia and in Virginia. And Vermont is calling Sanders ahead. If you want more information, you can visit newschannel12live.com.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for watching News Channel 12, your source for news.
Have a good night.